So we've talked a lot here on the podcast about the Missouri Film Tax Credit and how that's impacting projects coming into the state and how they work and everything else. Well, today I want to talk about two specific projects, both filmed in Missouri within the last year, really started about a year ago this time, and right about now are making their world premieres. It's pretty cool. Stick around. Hey there, welcome to the Screen Lawyer Podcast. I'm Pete Salsich, the Screen Lawyer. And today I'm really excited to talk about the Missouri Film Tax Credit, but in the sense that it actually impacted two projects. We've talked a lot about not so much the theory, but sort of the way the tax incentive works, how tax incentives in generally are part of film financing. They're an important part of bringing jobs to states, things like that. And today I want to focus on two projects that are near and dear to my heart. I was involved with both of them, and they both started about a year ago when we were finishing up our first year of the Missouri Film Tax Credit, and they are making their premieres pretty much as we speak. And one is a film, one is a television show. And so they have some differences, and it's interesting some of the ways they put the things together and the process for next steps, but they share a lot of common interests. And I think it's a really cool example of what's happening here and what can continue to happen. So the first is an independent film called Dust to Malibu. And Dust to Malibu is a beautiful film. It's a road trip film with a father and his estranged grown daughter trying to reconnect after the wife and the mother died. And I won't say too much other than to say when you get a chance to see it, please do. It stars Tim Daly from Madam Secretary all the way back to Wings, Sopranos, many other things. Tim's a well-known guy, and he's a great guy. I got to meet him, delightful person and a terrific actor. Shelly Gibson, who is originally from Springfield, Missouri, has a long and successful career in Hollywood and television shows. You've seen her in a million things, but now she's back here, and she has this passion for making things happen in Missouri, in particular in Springfield, her part of the state, which is a really vibrant film community. It's really cool. And I met Shelly about a year and a half ago at an event down in Springfield, a film event that I was there speaking at. And she told me about this project and who was involved and what they thought the budget was. And it was a pretty modest budget. At the time, they were thinking super low budget. It got a little bit bigger, but still we're talking in the neighborhood of around $500,000 for a completed film. That's a small budget film with real actors and stuff in it. But they had a plan, and they were looking for the financing. We met. I was able to connect with a client who was interested in doing so. We worked through the process. We negotiated the financing terms. It was a really interesting process, just sort of dealing with all of the different component parts to the financing of a film and then what's next. And we got it done. And we got it done just in time to start production last fall in October. And the crew came together, as often happens, and I think will happen here locally, when a project comes into the state. And even though Shelly was here, there were, Tim's in LA, the director, Stephen Ward, is based in London. They were all coming together, and they brought some of their department heads and key people, the DP and others, into the state, but also used lots of local crew, lots of local actors, and their experience was fantastic. The city supported them, the region supported, the support of the Missouri Film Office. All these component parts came together to make this a really enjoyable filming experience. And that was really important because this is a tight budget and a tight schedule. And they pulled it off beautifully. And now that film is making its world premieres in film festivals. The Burbank Film Festival is where it's starting. They've announced some others, and I don't want to tease out because there's sort of rules about what you can say, but you can go find it. So look up Dust to Malibu. You'll find out more about the film. We will next be going into the process of seeking distribution deals so you can watch it on your wall or on a movie theater and all those things. That's the next step of the process. But the production and the post-production and the editing and everything else is done. It took everything from start to finish, from raising the money, closing that deal, starting production, going through post-production, and finishing it and premiering it in 1 year's time. That's really fast. That's impressive. And that was a result of lots of people coming together. And the support of the local community here in Missouri was a really important part of it. And so I'm really, really proud of that. It's really a magical film. And I hope you get a chance to enjoy it. And it's proof of something that we can do here in the state and do it well. The second project is a television show called Spaghetti Wars. And this is a different animal than the independent film for a variety of reasons. What we did is, this is a cooking competition show, Italian food, you can imagine, Spaghetti Wars, but also with a sort of a narrative frame or a creative concept paying homage to mafia movies, The Godfather, Goodfellas, the idea of a family, and all of sort of that. And there's cinematic references into this as well that draw you in the way those films did. And it was filmed entirely on the Hill. For those who know, that's maybe the largest, still truly active Italian neighborhood in the country. A little Italy of sorts, but it's called The Hill. It's here in St. Louis, and it's huge and vibrant and wonderful. And the idea for the show came out of the genius of Pepe Kem, who is a restaurateur here. He's an actor, he's a singer, he's all these different things, a sort of a creative dynamo. And he had this concept, and he worked on it. Another producer, Tim Breitbach of Optimal Entertainment, they came together early on with this concept. I got involved early on, just helping them shape what it might turn out to be. And then we got involved with a legend in the industry, Barry Mendelsohn, a longtime, prolific, brilliant producer of live event television. That's such a simple, short-circuit way to describe the literally thousands of projects he's been involved in. But when he got involved, it got real. And we came together last summer. The project started taking shape, and we needed to raise over $1 million to fund the pilot episode of what we intend to be a series, right? An episodic series. And good cooking competition shows can have many, many years of life, as you know. So, but the concept of the financing there was, while it was similar to the Dust to Malibu film, but that was a one shot, right? You raise the money, you make the film hopefully goes out and finds an audience that rewards the investor and then generates some profits for the producers as well. In the television episodic world, from the point of view of Barry, and I think this is the right approach, is that if you raise the money and you finance the pilot episode, then you own the intellectual property in that episode completely. And then you're talking about licensing opportunities for networks, platforms, international distribution, whatever it might be. But you do it from a position of controlling where this project can go. So we had to raise that money quickly because we really wanted a production schedule that we could shoot last November. And we started raising the money in September. That's a pretty tight turnaround. But with the help of the Missouri Film Tax Credit Program, with some really smart people helping us out, we were able to raise that money, a great deal of it from St. Louis. It's a great deal of it from people who live and work on the Hill. We're very proud of their neighborhood, and there's a bit of a love letter to the Hill in the creative element of the episode. But the key piece here is a live event in the middle of it, a dinner for 100 people that paid a couple $100 a ticket to come to this event. And the competing families in the back of the episode have to cook and serve these people in real time with servers coming out, family style, 6 cameras going all over the place. It was chaos, but tightly organized chaos. It really cool to see. And I got to spend the entire week on set. We filmed everything in 4 days. It was a chance for me. I've done these contracts and stuff for a year, but with both projects, and we got to go down and spend a day on set at Dust to Malibu as well. For me, it's a chance to spend a little more time watching the craft in real time after just doing years of the contracts around it. But it was amazing to watch. And similar to Dust to Malibu, for Spaghetti Wars, Barry King Hollis is our director. They came up from Dallas. They brought some key department heads. Our lighting director, the lighting is amazing in this. The DP, a few others, but then used a largely St. Louis-based crew. I think close to 50 St. Louis crew on this shoot. That's a big number. And they were terrific. Barry and King have repeatedly said they were so pleasantly surprised. And not surprised as if they didn't expect it, but just really pleased with the quality of the crew, the work ethic, the support that the community gave. And again, from the film office, from the St. Louis Film Office, Kelly Hyatt and her team. I know I'm doing a fair amount of name dropping in this episode, but these are people that are really making things happen here in town. And I think it's important to recognize that. So we got the whole project filmed in 4 days, and then we had to continue to raise money to get to the post-production budget, which we were able to do. Post-production is just finishing at pretty much right now, and it's also making its world premiere. But it's something different. So with a film, you often premiere at film festivals, and there are film festivals around the country, around the world. And they're at various levels of competitive nature and so forth. And, ideally you get into multiple festivals, you find an audience, maybe you get distribution, that sort of thing. But in a television show, there isn't really sort of a festival or different things like that. But you do want to do a premiere. And the idea, of course, with the premiere is in part to show the finished product so that this is what we're going into the market with, and hopefully get orders for future episodes and seasons and things like that. But in this event, we decided to go back to the Hill to say thank you, really, to that community and the St. Louis community at large. So what Spaghetti Wars is doing is actually filming a premiering at a live event, because that's what Barry does, that has live music, stages, restaurants on the park, all in a big park on the Hill that is part of their annual Italian Heritage Parade and Festa that they've been doing for over 100 years. So for the first time, the Spaghetti Wars is going to be a Saturday night event at that weekend, totally free for people to attend, and giant screens to show, so there'll be live music, and then once the sun sets, massive screen, people can all sit in the park, watch the pilot episode, and then more music afterwards. And it's really a way to say thank you. It's not, because if you do it in a theater, that's even a big theater, you might have 400 seats that people can come. This is truly available to everybody, and it is a big way to say thank you to the support, because just like with Dust to Malibu, the Spaghetti Wars out-of-town team has sort of adopted Missouri or St. Louis as a new home. I mean, there are continual conversations about, let's do this again. What's the next project? Because of the experience that they had here. And I'm sure if these things were done in other states, the good experiences in other states. But what I'm seeing happen right here, locally, in person, in real time, is really impressive. And I wanted to celebrate those two things, because just like with Dust to Malibu, Spaghetti Wars went from concept to initial fundraising to production to post to premiere in 12 months' time, 11 months' time, actually. That's remarkable, right? There are so many projects that spend years in development, just putting together the pieces to go out and get the funding to just get started. These two projects came together quickly. Some part of that is because their budgets, while real money, were not $20 million. There's a very different component to development when you're talking at that scale, certainly. Nevertheless, it was a hustle. It is a hustle. This business is a hustle. But playing the role of helping to put the project together was really exciting for me, and it's something that I really see a lot of value in going forward. So that's it. Spaghetti Wars and Dust to Malibu. I hope you'll be able to see both of them on your actual screens, whether you pull them out of your pocket or you watch on the wall or wherever else you watch your content these days. I was making a comment the other day to somebody about, I said, this is television. And she said, there's no such thing as television anymore. And she's right, except in some ways it's sort of the same thing, right? This is your content, where you watch it on your screens. And with Spaghetti Wars, the hope is that, like with a lot of shows like this, people fall in love. Our ensemble cast is amazing. And then you want to watch the families compete each time. And the concept is a sort of a Mob Madness, if you will, like a March Madness bracket thing, with the finals being come back to St. Louis every year. The plan is to shoot other episodes in other cities, but always cities that have an Italian neighborhood, an Italian community, and something unique and special about that area, but also in states that have a film tax incentive, because that's part of the business and how you put these things together. So, really cool projects. Both of them I've got to be involved with from start to finish. Couldn't be more proud of that, and the people involved. I really think they're great. I think both of them have a good long life in front of them on a screen, and I hope you enjoy them too. So check them out if you can. If you like this content, remember our podcast. You can find them wherever you get your audio podcast. Find and follow us there. And if you are watching on our YouTube channel, thank you. Hit that like and subscribe button down below so you'll be able to get all of the content whenever it gets released. And you can always find us at thescreenlawyer.com. Take care.